What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and there is a possibility that there are a ton of question marks going into the 2023 offseason in some really pivotal roles on this Red Sox team. One of the most talked about is the possibility of a vacancy at the DH position. And for a Red Sox team who finished with the 11th fewest home runs in baseball in 2022 and had their lowest home run total since 2014, power in this lineup is going to be a huge conversation come this offseason and going into 2023. And obviously the biggest role in that sort of power play of this Red Sox offense has been the DH position. So how do the Red Sox go about fixing the power problem at the DH spot? That's what we're talking about today. We're going to go over a few different possibilities for the future of this DH role. We're going to talk about which one I think is the best fit for this Red Sox team, and I want you guys to let me know down below which one you think is going to be the best fit. Put on your Chaim Bloom hat as we go through this video, and at the end, let me know which one of these you would decide, or if there's some other possibility. But before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton and would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. So like I said, there are a pretty much endless amount of possibilities for this DH role going forward for the Red Sox. These, in my opinion, are going to be the top three possibilities. So I'm going to start with putting our faith back in JD Martinez. Now, JD Martinez had a really down year for the power slugger that we know and love. He only had 16 home runs and only 62 RBIs. That was his lowest RBI total in a full season since 2013 with the Houston Astros. But there could be something left in the tank for JD Martinez. In the last few weeks of the season, we saw him have a couple of home runs in some big spots, including in his last game at Fenway Park, where he had a 2 home run performance. He also still finished the year with the 4th most doubles in baseball. So there could still be something left there with JD Martinez. Now, one option for JD Martinez and the Boston Red Sox is what's known as a qualifying offer. For those of you who do not know what that is, a qualifying offer is essentially a 1-year deal to a player for the average of the top 125 paid players in baseball. For this year going into 2023, that would mean the Red Sox would offer JD Martinez a 1-year $19.65 million contract. The best part about the qualifying offer is that if a player does not take that deal, if JD Martinez looks at that and goes, that's great, but the Mets are offering me 4 years, $40 million, and I want somewhere where I can retire, and he goes there, the Boston Red Sox get a compensation draft pick, meaning that if JD Martinez signs somewhere else, the Red Sox get a pick in the 4th round or later of that year's draft. This contract is essentially an insurance policy. So that is one option with JD Martinez, to give him that qualifying offer, give him 1 year more on this Red Sox team, and allows you that opportunity to take a second, take that year, and truly figure out what you want to do with that DH position going forward. You could also obviously offer him a longer term deal, but in my opinion, it's going to be more realistic that they offer him the shorter term deal than a longer term deal, just based on past performances. And the biggest problem with this qualifying offer is the question mark that we talked about, whether or not JD can bounce back and have another good year, because we've seen it before from him. He had a terrible 2020 and a fantastic 2021 for most of the year, right? It was definitely a power year. It helped us get into those playoffs, but at the same time too, he's getting older. This is another time where he has had a really down year. Is he going to be able to bounce back the way he has in the past? And that's the question mark and the risk that you take with bringing JD back for another year on this Red Sox team. That's option number one. The second scenario for this Red Sox team is that they go outside of this organization, outside of JD Martinez, and they bring in a guy to be the basically everyday DH, meaning they either go into free agency looking for a DH or they try and trade for a DH. Now, I'm not going to get super into detail about the inner workings of this option because it's pretty obvious from just saying that, right? You either go outside of this organization, you offer someone a nice deal who is a free agent in 2023, and just taking a quick look at the 2023 free agent class, there are some interesting options. Jose Abreu could be an option, Michael Brantley could be an option, Josh Bell could be an option, Mitch Haniger, Trey Mancini. There are a bunch of different options for this almost full-time DH role in free agency. Now, the other option is to go out and trade for a player to take over that DH role. And this one's a little bit harder to give you guys some examples because in trading, you could basically go after any player in baseball for the right price. Now, I would have to imagine they're not going to go out and get a superstar, all-star DH type player. So guys like Dahlbeck, Duran, Downs, Winkowski, Siebold could be on the chopping block. A combination of almost all of those guys could be on the chopping block to go go out and get an everyday average DH. Now, again, I'm not saying that Dahlbeck, Duran, and Downs are going to be able to get Shohei Ohtani or something crazy like that, but they may be able to get a lower end power bat that does add some power to your lineup, but isn't going to cost you a crazy amount and isn't going to be a superstar all-star, that type of trade. So there's that option as well. You could go outside of this organization and bring in someone besides JD Martinez to fill that role as your everyday DH. Now, there's one more option I want to talk about today, and that is the option of having the DH as a rotating roster spot. Now, what I mean by this is right off the bat, you can get some guys in who normally aren't going to be playing every single day. You've got Christian Arroyo, who ended the year really hot after coming off of the IL. He could definitely take over some of those ABs at the DH position. It came out recently that Eric Hosmer has a no trade clause, so we're kind of stuck with him for a little bit. He's an option to take some ABs at DH, and probably more important than both of those is it gives you the opportunity to allow guys who are normally going to take days off to stay in that lineup. We all know just how important days off are for Alex Cora. There are pre-scheduled days off in almost every scenario throughout the season with Alex Cora. He makes it a point to get guys off their feet and off the field. Having this DH position as a rotating position allows you to still give guys days off, maybe more days off than you did before, but keep their bats in the lineup. One of the biggest issues this year, if not the biggest issue this year for the Boston Red Sox, was their ability to keep guys healthy and on the field. Adding this DH as a rotational spot, being able to rotate guys in and being able to get guys off the field once every 5 days or so and put them in that DH position could really go a long way in hoping to try and prevent the possibility of having another season where almost every single player on your roster is hurt for a significant amount of time. Now, it's important to note that this option, this scenario, is what Alex Cora would want to do with the DH position. He loves that flexibility. Like we said, he loves the idea of giving guys days off and allowing them to rest and hopefully prevent some of those injuries. And having this DH role in Alex Cora's mind as a rotational spot is the right move for this Red Sox team. Now, as Red Sox fans, we're not entirely used to this possibility, right? From 2003 to 2016, we had the greatest DH of all time in our possession. And then from 2018 to 2022, we had JD Martinez, who, when David Ortiz retired and passed the mantle to JD, he did a fantastic job as well. So for the past, we'll say 20 years, we have had someone in that DH position that we knew every day that they were going to be a power problem in this lineup. Now, that's not going to entirely be the case with the DH going forward if it moves to this rotational role, but that's not entirely a bad thing. So those are the three options, in my opinion, that are most realistic for this DH position. If you want my opinion on which one is the best, I think it'll be a combination of the two last scenarios here. I think they still go out and I think they get someone who is a power threat in this lineup, but I think they go out and they get someone who's a power threat that can play the field as well. Maybe they take a decent amount of time at DH, but it allows for that DH position to still be flexible. One of the biggest downsides to just signing JD for another year is that it's pretty realistic that he will not touch the field once. He did not touch the field once in 2022. In 2021, obviously he got hurt going out to the outfield, tripping over second base. We all just kind of know he's not exactly an asset on the field anymore. So bringing in a guy who can play outfield, maybe a corner outfield position, maybe they can play first base or third base or something like that, where they still have that flexibility of being on the field and you still have that ability to rotate DH, but at the same time too, you know that they're going to be a power threat in this lineup. And that, in my opinion, is going to be the most realistic scenario for the Red Sox going into 2023 with this DH position. But I'm just one man. It's just my simple opinion. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think? Out of these three scenarios, which one would you like to see the Red Sox go after? And is there a scenario here that I did not mention that you guys are like, hey, dummy, why didn't you include this? This is obviously where the Red Sox are going. Let me know all your thoughts on the DH problem down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Like I said at the beginning, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Plus, on top of that, you made it to the end of this video, you might as well hit that subscribe button. You also might as well hit that like button as well. Helps these videos out a ton and would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the Red Seat.